Hey guys, my name is Stasia and welcome back to my channel, Reader C. Today we will be discussing all the books I read in the month of April, and we're talking about The Owls. We'll start here. All the Stars and Teeth by Adeline Grace. By the time you guys are watching this, I'm still halfway through, but I am really enjoying it. So, I'm going to finish this tonight, but I wanted to already film this and have this ready to go up tomorrow. So, yeah, but you guys will probably see my absolute final thoughts in my vlog coming on Sunday. So, this book is about a girl who's a princess. She's about to take over her kingdom, and she needs to do like a little task thing to prove her worth. But when that all goes wrong, she runs away with a pirate to try to figure out what's going on with her magic type of stuff. You meet a few different people. I'm really loving the characters, really loving the plot. I cannot put it down because I started it last night and I'm already halfway through. But yeah, this story is really good. It's super engaging. I love the characters. Their personality development is already going pretty well and we're only halfway through. So I'm really curious to see where they end up. I got this book in a box from the last bookstore. It was a curated box and they thought that I would like this book based on other books I gave them. If you have not checked that out, I will link it in a card up above. I really am enjoying this book. I can't really say too much on it because I didn't finish it yet. It's looking to be a 4-star read for me, only because there are a little bit of complications that I'm not too much of a fan of to make it a 5-star, but it could possibly be a 4. We'll see how the ending wraps it all up. But yeah, I'm super excited to finish this one. This is the only book that I have not yet finished, but it is Tuesday, so I have 2 more books to finish this, and this is my last book for The Owls. So we're great. All is great. But yeah, so that's the first book that I will complete in the month of April. The next book I completed in the month of April is Dorothy Must Die by Daniel Page. I gave this book 3.5 stars. Honestly, this book just seemed really long to me for no reason. I definitely felt like they could have cut it down. It is a series. I have not picked up the 2nd or 3rd book yet, but I do own them if you could see them up there. I own them, so maybe I'll pick them up next month. Not too sure yet. Basically, this is a story in which after Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz goes home, she realizes that she doesn't actually want to be home. So she goes back to Oz and sort of takes over, and then everything kind of turns inside out because she becomes very power hungry. You know, she is doing a lot of changes. You're not really sure who the good guys are, who the bad guys are, but this girl, Amy, drops into Oz the same way Dorothy did with her house, going in the tornado and all of that stuff. And she is seeked out to kill Dorothy so that things go back to normal. Yeah, there was a lot of good elements to this book. Some of the characters I didn't really care for, but I know that we were supposed to care for them. Amy was a tad bit annoying to me, but I am still excited to continue the series and see where it goes. The ending kind of ended on a cliffhanger where you're not really sure what's going to happen. Yeah. In here, Glinda the Good Witch is actually someone that is not so good, but Amy ends up teaming up with who would have been considered the bad guys. Everyone who was good in the Land of Oz, in the Wizard of Oz, which was, you know, the Tin Man, the Lion, and the Scarecrow, you know, they're not really as they seem after the movie ended, basically. It's a decent read. Most of it, I kind of just found myself blanking out. I needed to pick up the audio to get to the end of it. The 2nd and 3rd do look significantly smaller than this one, so maybe the pacing is a little bit better, not so much unnecessary things, but I know that first books in series are really supposed to lay out a lot of things, so maybe that's why this one was just chunky, and I did feel like a lot of it, as I said, could have been cut out and wasn't really necessary for the plot, but hey, it's fine. The series overall might still be great, I'm not saying it's bad. It's not great either. It's a good book. Would I recommend it? Not sure. That depends on if you like unnecessary detail and a lot of storytelling. But other than that, you know, it was a decent read. The next book I finished this month was Cersei by Madeline Miller. I gave this a 3.5. I know this was a book that a lot of people loved, and I was super excited to read it. But I just don't think I'm that into mythology. So maybe that's why I didn't maybe care for it as much as a lot of people did. It was a really good read, a very interesting story about Cersei and sort of her life. Didn't really care too much for most of the characters, and I was really confused on who the characters were. I feel like in order to read this book, you need to have some sort of background on mythology. In the back of the book, they do have like a cast of characters. So like it tells you like all the gods, the titans, and the gods and the goddesses and all that fun stuff. The monsters and all of that were mentioned. But I didn't really want to read that in fear that it might have spoiled something else in the book. So, I mean, it wasn't a bad book. Maybe if I was more into mythology, I would have loved it. I think this is a great book if you're really into, like, mythology and that whole sort of concept. It wasn't really a strong point for me. So, yeah, I didn't really care for it as much. But it was still a pretty good read. I got through it pretty fast. Pretty sure I got through it in 2 or 3 days. Not sure, but yeah, it wasn't a bad read. It's just mythology is not my thing, which that's what I was scared of, but I needed it for a prompt, so that's what happened. The next book I finished was My Sister the Serial Killer. This was a really fast read. Finished it in a morning. This one was also a 3-star. There wasn't as much depth to the story as I would have hoped. The sisters in the story were very much like sisters, you know, they butt heads a lot and such, but I just didn't really feel connected to them. But it was a really quick read due to the fact that it's not written in the style of normal books, so the chapters are really short. So it's just, yeah, they're like really short chapters. So I went through it really quick. It was an okay read. I wouldn't say it's good. I wouldn't say it's bad. Maybe just not my kind of book. I was actually really excited because Books and Lala really enjoyed it, but it seemed pretty mediocre for me, unfortunately, and I was actually really excited to get to this one. But yeah, so this was another 3-star read this month. Next book I read was Sadie by Courtney Summers. This was a very hyped up book. It was not a 5-star for me. It was a 4-star. Basically, this girl's sister goes missing. This book is actually part podcast, so I actually listened to this one on audio, and that was a very pleasant experience. I really enjoyed it in taking the story that way, but I did follow along with it with the book. It was a good book. I really enjoyed it. The ending I thought was going to be more like, I felt like the ending should have been wrapped up better. I'm pretty sure that this is just a standalone book, so we're not going to get any more from these characters. But basically, this girl is going around trying to find someone who she thinks would know where her sister is, or what had happened, or what had really happened to her sister. So yeah, it was very interesting. It was very interesting, the precautions she would take and sort of the journey that she went on. I enjoyed it. A trigger warning, I would say that there is, but yeah. The next book I finished was Animal Farm by George Orwell. This was a really short read. I read it for my book under 150 pages. I rated it 2 stars, didn't care for it. I know it's supposed to be like a classic, but I guess I'm really not a classics person. This is basically a farm, and it's a farm where they made the farmer run out, and so it's run by animals, in which they're saying that all animals are equal. If they walk on 4, they're friends. If they walk on 2, they're not. Basically like an animal against humans type of thing. The animals are sort of having like a revolution against their owner, and I don't know, it's kind of weird. Didn't really care for it. Yeah. The next book I finished, which is actually the most recent book I finished, and that was To All the Boys I Loved Before by Jenny Han. Now, I was really looking forward to this because a lot of people said that they loved the books and it was even better than the movie, and I really enjoyed the movie. So I was really excited for that. I guess I'm going to have the unpopular opinion right now and say that I definitely prefer the movie. Will I continue on with the trilogy? I have no idea. But I have the other two books. I don't know. The characters in the book were a lot different than the movie. So maybe if I had read it first, I would have liked it. But maybe since I already watched the movie, I really liked the movie first. I do agree that the movie did a fantastic job of following the story. Like, it was basically the same. But it wasn't so much the story that I didn't like. It was the characters in the book. They kind of gave off a super harsh vibe, and I just wasn't feeling it. Like, Peter in the book and Margot in the book are just so, I don't want to say rude, but they're very, like, harsh towards Laura Jean, especially Peter in the beginning, and then Margot, like, towards the end when she comes home and stuff. I didn't really like it. For that reason, I felt that the characters were just unnecessarily mean. I like the way that the movie portrayed it better, and where the movie kind of made Peter, like, not so mean, and he was still kind of like, you know, like, hey, let's do it. But in the book, it's kind of like, oh, this is just for me. Like, you get nothing out of this. I'm using you. And I was just like, ooh, yeah, didn't really like it. What I did like is that this book includes recipes for, like, Laura Jean's holiday recipes. And I thought that was super cool. Yeah, so she has, like, they have recipes. And I'm pretty sure that I would try some of these recipes. Yeah, it seems super fun. That was a nice little thing. I probably will read the second book just for the sake of reading the series, and I really want to see how they portray John Ambrose. So yeah, I was disappointed, but it's fine. But on a completely opposite note, Serpent and Dove, which I absolutely loved. And if you know me, I've been raving about this book so much. I cannot wait for the second book. Like, I really like this book, which was really surprising to me. I didn't really expect to like it as much as I did. I thought I was like, oh, it's really long. You know, I don't really do long books. I don't really do, like, fantasy a lot. But I've been really getting into fantasy lately. But this book, Serpent and Dove, so good. It was so good. Like, I cannot stop raving about this book. Basically, it's a witch and a witch hunter are forced to get married under circumstances, and things sort of just escalate from there. There's a lot of secrets that get uncovered, and it's very action-packed, very fast-moving for the length of the book. Could not get enough of the characters, honestly. The development from the beginning to end was spectacular. Lou and Reed, they have my heart. I love them. I love them. I love them. I love them. And the ending, like, I need the second book. The way the first book ended, I need to know what's going to happen. Like, you really cannot say what you think will happen. It's very unpredictable, which is what I was surprised about, because I was like, in my head, I'm kind of like, oh, a lot of fantasies are the same. Like, I don't know if I'm going to like it. But I needed it for a prompt, and I loved it. I loved it. I already bought 2 book boxes for the release of Blood and Honey, and that was from Beacon Book Box, which I'll link down below, and No Shelf Control, which I'll link her Instagram down below, but I think she's sold out already. But I'm super excited for the second book, and I cannot wait. The pacing of this book was just so well done. The characters, I love their personality. To an extent, I could kind of relate to Lou, and like she was like stubborn. Of course she was stubborn. Like, she's very cautious, and I really like that. And Lou was very like irritable in the beginning. Like, he didn't want anything to do with it, but he knew he had to do it. And just like from beginning to end, it's like a full like 180 for them. I really love this relationship. The side characters as well. I hope we get more of the side characters in the second one, because they just seem amazing too. And it's just great friendships, great adventures. The magic system in here was something that I've never really heard of before. So that was a nice surprise. But yes, this was a 4.5 only because there was a few things where I was like, didn't need to do that. So it wasn't a solid 5-star, but that's just me being picky. So the last book I read in April was Truth Be Told by Kathleen Barber, previously known as Are You Sleeping? I read this for the Literary Thrilling Book Club on Facebook and Instagram, which I will link them down below if you want to join us. They just announced the book for May, which I'm really excited about. I just ordered that. So this one also sort of like a podcast, sort of like article thing going on, and so for that aspect I thought I was really gonna like it because I really enjoyed Sadie, but I wasn't too much of a fan of this one. I rated it 3 stars. It was really slow, really boring in the beginning. I did not care for the characters at all. The main character really annoyed me, and the reporter really annoyed me. Basically the premise of this story is her sisters and their dad died however many years ago, and everyone thought they had solved it, that the murderer was in jail already and this, that, and the other. But then a reporter comes along and she's kind of trying to dig it back up because she does not believe that the person in jail is the one who did it. So they're kind of just going through along and they're trying to, like, they uncover some stuff and then just trying to uncover whether or not it was that person who actually did kill their father. But the sisters don't want to know. One is just like, no, I'd rather just go back home. And then the other one is just like, I don't know. They just didn't really care for the story. They wanted the reporter to just go away. Obviously, the reporter's not going away. But yeah, didn't really care for it. A lot of it was boring and just fill in knowledge. The ending really did take it back for me, which you can see my official thoughts on that in my vlog. I vlogged sort of like a mini review right when I finished it. I was in my week 4 vlog for the hours, which I'll put a card up above if you guys would like to check that out. But yeah, I didn't really care for this one, unfortunately. I do have higher hopes for a pick for May for the Literary Thrilling Book Club. But yeah, so that's all I have for you today. I'm really surprised that I read a total of 9 books this month, and I actually did complete my Owls. If you took part in the Owls Magical Readathon, did you finish or did you not quite finish? Let me know down below. How many books did you read this month? Did it reach your goal if you had a goal? If you've read any of these books, let me know how you liked them. And yeah, talk to you soon. Comment, like, and subscribe down below, and I'll see you later. Bye.